All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of DevTalks, where we talk about everything technology and engineering wise with your host Travian. And it's another week. Just a few days ago, if not, it was yesterday actually. Apple had an event, and I was actually waiting for this. It's kind of cool that Apple has these events twice a year, it seems like, to update us on their products and all of that fun stuff. And they actually get very technical, which is one of the things that I really love about watching their events. You can learn so much from watching them, and it's really beautiful, the stuff that comes out of it. That their events, I feel, are scaling up better. They release less products in this one. They talk about less. They talked about the Apple Watches and iPhones in this one. Or the last one, they talked about all their different MacBooks and computers and iOS updates and things of those accords, and the new product called of the Vision Pro. And honestly, it's amazing. They get very I really enjoy how technical and how they dive into the chips that they put into their devices and really give the specifics and specifications of it and how it's going to help the performance of the phones and things like that. So those are like my dream stuff. So once when I can get to a point to attend these events live and in person, that's when I know that I made it to a certain point and that I'm doing good off of it. So what we're going to do this episode, we're going to dive into the Ford products that they brought out today, talk about them a little bit, and see where that goes. But without further ado, let's dive right in. Okay, so first things first is the first product that they released in this event. Um, Note, the event was very cool. They had a lot of different stuff going on, little commercials and videos and stuff like that. But the first thing that they showed was the Series 9 Apple Watch. So that's going to be going for $399. That's where it's going to start at. They put a lot of emphasis on this new S9 chip that's inside of it that can track your blood movement and pressure and like your movement for you tapping your fingers, because that is very important for these new features that they added to the watch. And they're going to add it to the other watches as well too, that I'm going to get to eventually. But they added this new chip. It's supposed to make the watch run a lot more smoother and faster, so you get to be able to do a lot more. And then they also brought up Siri and all the Siri functionality that comes with it. Apparently Siris are easier to get to, like when you lift the watch it might be able to come up. And there's also, it's Siri on device versus the cloud, so Siri will run a lot quicker, and it's a lot more secure that way, and a few other things that they brought up. Um, Another thing with Siri that they went through is having your health data, so like being able to track all your like sleeping data, your fitness, um, like other women's stuff and all your other health needs. You can get all of this stuff through Siri and track it through Siri a lot more efficiently. And right now it's only in English and Mandarin that this is at, but they're going to bring it out to more languages and stuff across the world. So that's a big plus. I feel like that's something that should have brought up a lot sooner, but it was not brought up. And yeah, but they that's about the part for the Series 9. They also, so that's about it for Siri, I should say, not the Series 9. The tap they So now why I brought up the tapping your fingers is now action button. Like you can stop alarms, you can hang up and answer phone calls by just tapping your fingers, kind of like the Vision Pro thing, but instead of a camera seeing it, it goes based off of all the pressure and stuff that you but it uses a lot of machine learning stuff, they said, to be able to just read your movement and stuff when you're wearing the watch. But that was not the but that's the case for that. And something that's really cool about this one is the color palettes. They have so many colors for this, but they have a pink, which is apparently new. And I never knew they had a red. I know they had red iPhones, but they have the red watch as well too. Those two colors really stood out to me. Like out of all the other colors, they're more neutral and things like that. But honestly, those two stood out very well compared to all the neutral colors, and I feel like they partially do that on purpose, but they put an emphasis on the pink color coming out. It looks like the iPhone 15 might have a pink color coming out as well too. That looks great. I mean, so everybody can get their pink phones and watches. It's very good for women or whoever wants to have the color pink stuff. So that's a plus. And then now we're gonna move on to the Ultra 2 watch. So now the Ultra 2, which is first off, I didn't even know they had an Ultra 1. So, and I'm gonna take a guess that the first Apple Watch Ultra came out before I started this podcast. So, and I actually haven't worn an Apple Watch since like the Series 2. Like I just don't wear Apple Watches a lot. I'm more like more traditional watches and things like that. So for Apple Watches, I didn't pay too much attention to them like that. I didn't even know they came out with an Ultra and things like that, what the differences were and all that other information. So now, like, this is another perk of doing these podcasts because now I know this came out. So basically, it's a bigger display and everything. They talked about a lot of fitness stuff with the Ultras, major fitness things like when it comes to like bicycling, it measures your speed, the power of your workout, and all of that. And then even if you're like running or whatever, it tracks elevation to the T. And you can also do deep diving in the watch with the watches too. So every little thing that you can do that's active and that's more rigorous and stuff, I guess the Ultra is built for that better tracking and things like that to that accord. And it still comes with that new S9 chip, that S9 chip, so that you can do the tappings with your fingers for actions as well. So they came out with that, and that one's going to be a 799, which is the same price as the 15 that's coming out. So a watch being the same price as your phone is kind of crazy, but Apple's gonna do what they do. And before I continue on to the 15, I just want to make a standpoint. Like I noticed in the last event that they had earlier this year, they talked a lot about carbon footprinting and the environment. This this event, they were so much more heavy on it. Like you can clearly see how much their goal is because by 2030 they're trying to have 100% recycling and stuff and no new raw materials and all of that. But it's a hard thing to try to get to. But they're saying that this Ultra 2 is made out of 95% recycled titanium. So we'll see how this all plays out and things. I really don't know how it's gonna fully work, but they are very adamant on this climate stuff. So that's a big ups for Apple. It seems like they're making progress to it. They even had a little funny. I mean, it wasn't really funny to me, but it was a little special video where they had a little Mother Nature thing. I don't want to spoil everything in it. Just go watch the event. I'm sure that video will come out on its own. The Apple Mother Nature thing, and there'll be more about that in the future. So now onto the 15. It's a lot brighter. Apparently, they said it's almost twice as bright as the 14 was. You get a lot bigger display, and then they talked about the ceramic display as well too, which is a lot tougher. So the phone's all around is supposed to be a lot tougher. Somebody needs to do a drop test on these because I am so terrified of dropping my Apple phones all the time. Like I always have a screen protector, I always have a crazy case because I'm not trying to break my phone, and I always felt like Apple just your phone breaks. Like it can break so much easier than Androids do. And I don't know. So maybe now I need to see a better like drop test on these phones and stuff. I remember back in the day, it was like the iPhone 4 or 3 came out and people were doing bend tests on them and bending them in the stores, which was crazy. But more about this. They have another chip inside of there. I believe it was wide length or something. Um, Basically, it's to help the phone connect to devices a lot further away. And they said about 3 times more away, can connect to devices, find people a lot more accurately, has more better location precision and all of that. They also are going to have voice isolation. So something like how the Vision Pro had, where you can like isolate what you're hearing into your headset. This is more like you're getting rid of all the background noise, so whoever you're talking to on the phone or anything can hear just you and not all the background noise that's going on. This is good for concerts, games, all of that. You can just voice isolate yourself so that you're tuning out all the background noise, which is a wonderful thing. What I'm more curious about is something I'm more getting into is vlogging, different experiences. I want to know if this is going to be able to be used on recording videos. Because if I can take out background noise when I'm recording videos, that would be a plus. That will actually help so much out. You wouldn't need as much of expensive cameras and things. And I actually might buy the phone just for vlogging if you could do that. So that's a test thing that I need somebody to test if I'm not going to get the phone, because that is very important, I feel. And the two last big things about these new 15s is the SOS emergency thing. So it can either you can get roadside assistance or like emergency help when your phone has no service anywhere. And the roadside assistance I found very helpful because it uses AAA. I'm already a AAA member, but they pretty much teamed up with AAA to be able to help people who don't have service, and you can do a lot of different things. There's a lot of different emergency services available to you when you don't have this. So that's added to the phone. And then the major change is the USB-C change for the charging and everything and the cord. So once again, I Apple's getting a charging cord difference, but this is actually very huge because I believe they're changing this anyways because of a law change that's going on in like Europe somewhere. So they had to change it universally. And this is going to help because now I don't have to see, like, a lot of people around me have Android phones that are like a lot of older people. And now I don't have to look for an iPhone charger if I upgrade my phone. I can just plug it into their Android chargers and things like that. Like USB C, a lot of things have been using it. Even MacBooks use USB C. So like you just have the charging capabilities everywhere. It's a lot more easier to get a hold of this cord now compared to the Apple chargers that we normally have. Even though the other end, I believe, is a USB C on it. Like it's been a lot of trouble and all of that, but that was the big. Those are pretty much the big changes about the 15. As I said, it's 799. Starting at 128 gigabytes, I believe that was. And then for um, the Pro at 128 starts at 999, and the Pro Max with the 256 gigabytes is 1199. This one is a little different though. The material on the phone is different. It's all titanium all the way around. So they said this is the first time they're bringing it to the phone, and it's supposed to help with the way that they have the titanium and the aluminum in the phone. It's supposed to help with heating. This is when I heard that, this is something I also want to see tested because I don't know about anybody else, but my phone overheats when it charges. And there's a lot of things, it overheats a lot frequently. And even when I leave it outside to a certain point, like, yeah, it's getting hotter outside, but it even overheats quickly. So, like, I don't have the newest, brand newest phone or anything. I probably had this phone for about 2 years now. So I'm like 2 years back, like 13 or something. Um, but it it has overheating problems, I feel like. I don't know if I'm the only one, but when it's charging and stuff, whether it's mag charging or regular charging, I feel like I feel my phone overheating a lot, and it should not be the case. I get a lot of warnings on my phone that it won't charge until the phone's cooled down and things like that. So that is a big thing for me. It's been bothering me a lot lately, and something that I'm hoping can be remedied. But this phone is supposed to be a lot lighter, along with tougher. There's no more of that switch for silencing your phone. It's now a button, which I find is very cool. It's an action button, just kind of like how the watches have. in a sense, but this action button can also be equipped with a few other things. Where instead of just silencing it, it can do a plethora of different actions on top of it, like getting out a translator or all this other fun stuff. So that was a big plus on the phone, the pros, that I felt was very cool. Not a big two last very big things for this phone. So for the pros, there's an A17 Pro chip in it, and this is supposed to help with gaming and graphics out of its world. We already seen in the last event that Apple was coming out with these new Macs that would, and they're focusing a lot more on gaming, but now they're bringing this to the cell phones as well too. And the footage that they showed us looked very good as far as that goes. But once again, this is something that the thing that I believe is I need to see it tested, or test it myself before I believe everything, because they're showing us like they're showing us a preview, and it kind of makes me think about, if you guys ever see a commercial about a fast food place. You see that the food looks so good, that john look juicy, the burger and everything, but then you get it and it's dry, and it don't look like it do in the commercials. Food always look better in the commercials, so I feel like this technology in the gaming is looking better on the preview and the commercial. So I just have to see it tested and all that and see where we go. But that's what I my take on that. And then the last thing, which is dope. This is dope. They're finding new ways to incorporate with the Vision Pro. Now you can record spatial videos where it takes the spatial environment around you when you're recording videos, and you can put those videos on your Vision Pros. You can send them to other Vision Pro devices and things like that and watch them in this new spatial video kind of thing. So you don't only have to record on your Vision Pro. There, look, the more ways you can make your product interact with other products is bangers. So that was the biggest banger. And honestly, that's something I just want to have fun with and play with. Imagine you can have a spatial video vlog. This is what I'm thinking. This is what's going to happen in the future. People are going to start recording on their iPhones and creating spatial vlogs and watching them on YouTube. And people are going to be able to watch spatial vlogs like they're in the content creators' vlogs. And you heard this here first. And if anybody tries to say you didn't hear it here first, look at the timestamp, because this is coming out on Thursday. What's today's date? September 14th. And it's going to be out at 11 a.m. And if anybody beats me to it, let me know, because I doubt nobody will. And I'm stamping that, because that's going to be the true, and that's going to be the case, and that's going to be the future. But besides that, thank you guys for hanging out and just learning about the event. If you didn't want to spend an hour and a half or 2 hours watching the event, just look at this video. It's calm. Hopefully you learned a lot quickly. You get to know about these products some and all that fun jazz. But don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your hot takes. Let me know what you getting from this event. Are you getting any products from this event? Yes or no? If you're not, then that's tough. But if you are, then that's tough. Because regardless, there's winning loses on all this. But don't forget to share. Peace out, y'all. Have a good one, and adios.